Hey guys, Script Trooper here with another video. It's just... Oh, man. I just don't get it. I just don't get the point of it. So, when the Acolyte came out, they made such a big deal about the fact that there were actors and actresses in it that were varying genders, I guess, and non-binary. I honestly don't even know what that means. Like, to me, non-binary, you're bi. It just means that you are attracted to both men and women. I don't know, call me crazy, but that's to me, all these other things, that's literally what it is. And that's fine, whatever, dude. I'm not your keeper. But they made such a big deal about that. And like all the different races and stuff. Oh, look at it, we have so many races. It's never been done before on TV or in Star Wars, even though it had a million times. But whatever. They made such a big deal about that. And ultimately people were like, your show sucks. Like no one, I don't know anyone that really even discussed that aspect of it at all. At all. It was just, this show sucks. Like nobody cared about any of those other things. Now, having said that, those things were, at least from the like gender ideology side of it, those things were outside of the story for the most part. I guess everyone kind of assumed the witches were of the elves, but I don't know. I honestly, man, I don't even know. I just think witches in Star Wars is dumb. I've been saying this for a really long time. It's dumb. I thought it was dumb in Clone Wars. Sorry, I know some of you guys have commented on my last video because I said that the Clone Wars isn't very good, and some of you really love it, and that's okay. You're allowed. I'm not here to tell you what to like and not like, any more than I'm telling you to like or not like this. But here we go, the latest controversy, and sometimes it makes me feel like they're just doing this to draw attention to themselves because they're fading and apathy has set in, and maybe they're happy to get whatever the attention is, whether it's positive or negative. But Twitter's going nuts over this. Star Wars Holocron posts, the secrets of the clone troopers includes a first look at Sister, a trans woman clone trooper. Oh boy. Rex's description of Sister in the book reads, and I don't know what book this is, we're probably going to find out here. When one of our kind expressed her gender identity differently than her fellow troopers, she figured she'd have to hide who she truly was inside. Fortunately, her brothers in the 7th Sky Corps gave her the name Sister as a constant reminder that she belonged. Now, if I was in a war and somebody decided to say they felt like they were in the wrong body and they're a capable soldier and they've got my back, I personally don't care. do you, because right now we're in a war and someone, I could get shot and you're a capable soldier, so I don't really care. Now, if you're not a capable soldier, no matter who you are, man, woman, anything else, whatever, then no thanks. I don't want you to be fighting with me because that means that I'm more likely to die. So in that sense, I wouldn't care. And I just feel like they did this just for attention, though. Like why do this? Like if you're transgender or whatever, can you comment for me? Like, did you need this? Does this make you feel good that some random clone trooper is apparently transgender now? Did that all of a sudden make your day? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like what's the point, right? Other than just trying to get attention, right? Whether it's positive or negative. The other thing that is interesting about this, and actually this kind of bugs me as well, is in a galaxy far, far away, this person has painted their suit with the transgender flag colors from Earth. It appears that way, at least. It's pretty darn close, right? You got the pink, you got the blue. I guess the blue's a little darker, maybe. I don't know, with the lighting. That is really stupid. Again, it's supposed to be a galaxy far, far away, and they're really hell-bent on inserting Earth stuff into it. like right now, this issue is or at least has been. I think it's kind of been fading because I think people are kind of just bored at this point. They don't care anymore. The transgender issue has been a big issue in the Western world. Let's make that clear. The Western world. Other places aren't doing this, but the Western world, they've decided to not just embrace this issue, and not even just embrace the people, but embrace everybody. It's fine. But they've turned it into a very political issue, like they always do with everything. You know, we have the accusations of taxpayers paying for surgeries for migrants and things like that happening in the United States. I'm not American, but it's become a political issue, right? And which for me sucks. And personally, I think that going through that process of transitioning is probably harmful for people. I personally would encourage somebody not to do that. But if somebody was going to do that, that doesn't change my view of them in terms of their humanity or loving them or anything. It's ultimately their decision, and if they're a nice person, I don't really care about that stuff. Well, I mean, I care about it, but it's not my role to be, you know, finger pointing and saying it. You know what I mean? Like, if they're a nice person, they treat me nicely. We can have convos. It's like anybody else. I don't really care. But the thing is, you're inserting Earth, something that's very politically motivated, social politics, by the way. Like, I'm not going to have this argument again now with another Star Wars fan about how, there's always been politics in Star Wars. There's always been geopolitics in Star Wars. This is social politics. This is people trying to get other people to believe what they believe about humanity and the world and everything. That's social politics. That's not geopolitics. Okay? Very, very different. Star Wars has always had, you know, comparisons to Vietnam and America, blah, blah, blah. That's geo. That's war. There's a difference. You got to learn that. But to insert the pride flag or their transgender flag into this, it makes it political now. And that's a very Earth political thing. It has nothing to do with Star Wars. If anything, I would think if there was a transgender whatever, whether it's a clone trooper guy like this or whoever, alien, it doesn't matter. I think it would be treated very differently than it would be on Earth. Right? Like on Earth, because this is a political issue right now, it's people see the promotion of it, right? Making a big deal about it, painting my, you know, wearing that flag on me to represent this as a thing. But in Star Wars, I would think it wouldn't be a thing. I would think it would just be. Do you know what I'm saying? And they wouldn't need to be promoting it like that. That's where it gets, for me, kind of weird, and it just totally takes me out of Star Wars. If you want to have a character like this in Star Wars, honestly, have one. But don't do the colors. Don't make a big deal about it, because again, I don't think it would be a big deal. I think if you were Rex, you'd be like, whatever. Can you fire a gun? Can you run fast? Can you help pull guys to safety that are injured? Can you know what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't be this where we're promoting it and colors and Earth flags, and this is where for me it's just stupid. Even this whole like making a big deal about it, the description, again, I think in Star Wars it would just be like, yeah, whatever, cool, you're a soldier, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think they would make a big deal about it. But for us and for Earth and for the influence and the politics, we got to have this whole thing. And that's the part about it that makes it stupid, in my opinion. So let's just take a look at some of the comments. That's just... Anakin canonically coined the term for trans people in the Star Wars universe. The Jedi are all about transcending things. I don't think we can complain if you've transcended gender. I don't know what this even is. Transcended gender. We'll work on it. But I like where it's headed. I don't know what this is from or how real this is, but again, this seems more like, yeah, it is what it is, whatever, moving on. Like, that's not what we're focusing on. Activists. I mean, a lot of people are going to take this a certain way. I mean, that's just how it is. Is this real? Sister has existed for a couple of years now. Okay, so why is this being brought out now? Is there just nothing else going on? in Star Wars, so we gotta bring this up. This person think again. See, it's a political motivated thing. See, using the term phobes. I don't agree with it. I think it's bad for people, but I'm not afraid of them. I'm not against them if they decide to do that. I would still love them as human beings. Like, but that's what happens, right? Everything right now is so divisive. They're supposed to be clones. What are they doing? How did they know they were a woman? The clones had nearly no women experience on their upbringing on Kamino, and only their trainers and mentors learning only combat and survival. I mean, you know, there is something to be said for that when on the one hand, gender is a social construct, but to be a woman, you just need to like dress like one and behave like one, and you know what I mean? Like there is that part of it too, which is confusing, to say the least. For me, anyway. I don't know. Like which is it? Is it a construct or is it real? And then therefore you behave like that because that is what it is. I mean, again, it's the whole thing for me at least is pretty confusing. So yeah, if you never saw the social constructs of it, how would you? Because I think Sister has like long hair and stuff, right? Yeah, like why? Where would you even get that from? You've never even been around that. You've been around Kaminoans and a whole bunch of clone dudes. So where did you even get that idea that that's part of womanhood is having long hair? That's a good point. If you think about it. So, like, let's stay in universe, right? In Star Wars universe, that is a valid point. Where would they get that idea? A lot of people are not happy. Got to be a parody. There's no way. Yeah, people are tweeting some stuff. Now, part of it is for me, too. I'm not going to get upset about this stuff just because it's like, I don't know. I think it's attention. Why are you bringing this up now? Star Wars is silly at this point. It's stupid, and bringing in earthly stuff, like I said, like the colors, like why would you do that? Like you're just trying to poke people and get a big debate going because nothing's going on and no one cares about your franchise right now. That's the way I see it. I'm just saying. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's just what it seems like. Breaks the lore. Does it break the lore? Let me know in the comment section. I don't know. I mean, is this a parody? Automatically, this is just another defective clone. Don't know what the end goal here, but clearly no one thought it through. It is, now again, going back to the Star Wars lore side of it, it is strange that a clone would go that route, because aren't they all like exactly the same in terms of, okay, so we're saying that this is a real thing that is genetic or whatever, there's science behind it, you know, so if they're all scientifically and genetically the same, their brains function the same way everything else, wouldn't they? Because they're clones. How would one go that direction? I don't know. And again, that's why it kind of feels forced, right? It feels like they're just like, oh, we have to do this because this is the thing now. And I don't know. It's just, why does everything have to have everything in it, I guess is what I'm saying. Why does everything have to have everything in it? Right? I don't get that. People are focusing way too much on outward crap and far too little on character these days. Not surprising since every clone was encouraged to express their individuality. Interesting and good addition. Too bad this wasn't an earlier thought. Okay. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Them being encouraged to express their individuality. So maybe that's the Kaminoans would have canonically euthanized this defect long before it ever saw deployment. Is that true? I love this. More diversity in the clones and representation through each of them, trying to make their existence more than just a killing machine for the Republic. My take there is, I disagree. That's one of the things I don't like about the Clone Wars. This, like, every crappy side, dumb extra has to have a story behind it. They're extras. It's just like the Stormtroopers. Yes, it was cool. It was a cool idea to have Finn, have one of them have a story. But with the Clone Wars, like every stupid side character has to have a thing, and there's a write-up about them, and this, like, to me, let extras be extras. That's what they are. They are a killing machine. They're all they are. They were literally just bred to fight. We don't need details about every little thing about them. You know what I'm saying? I just don't like that. I think it's lame. Like, the focus should be on the main characters and all that stuff. I don't see a point in putting all this focus on extras. They're there to be extras. That's what they're supposed to do. I don't want to know about them. I just don't. I don't want to know about this one. I don't care. Never understood the whole Rex. Like, I never understood that. These are guys. These are guys that are literally just go out, do the job. That's it. That's why you were made. You are literally a commodity. I know that sounds like mean, I guess, but that's the reality. Like that's what do you think stormtroopers were? Like, they're there to just do a job. They're not there for us to be like, oh, what's your name, Mr. Stormtrooper? Where are you from, Mr. Stormtrooper? What are your feelings on this conflict, Mr. Stormtrooper? Like, no. So in that sense, this is super lame. Like, and I think it's just as lame as any other background story about a stupid clone trooper. Like, to me, it's silly. And again, I know a lot of you guys like the Clone Wars, but to me, I think that's super silly. Anyway. Okay, she is a clone of Jango Fett. The clones had their personalities controlled. So this person somehow thinks he's a woman. It's not believable. And again, let me know in the comment section. That's a factor, right? Like how would this person slip through the cracks when literally these guys are bred to fight, period? They're not meant to. But then the earlier comment said they were encouraged to be individuals, which to me is kind of stupid too. Why would you breed an army and then encourage them to be individuals? Yeah, I'm going to spend a quadrillion million tillion dollars on this mercenary army I need, and I'm going to make sure they all get encouraged to be individuals. That doesn't seem believable at all. And that actually makes this character not believable, actually, if you think about it. So let me get this straight. According to this, transgenderism is spread socially and not genetically, as if one clone has it. All should. That's kind of what my point was earlier. At the end of the day, you can't force people to accept this idea that this is a natural thing. You can't. You can believe that. Other people can believe that. Anyone can think what they want, but you can't force people to think a certain way. It's a free country, freedom of speech. You can't. And so this is going to tick off a lot of people. It just is. I'm sorry. It just is. So this is in Star Wars: The Secret of the Clone Troopers. And again, that's the book. Okay, so there's my problem right there. Why are there secrets of clone troopers? They're extras. This is why this stuff happens, because we don't need to know any of this. They're just stupid clone troopers. And now they're like a thing, and we got to learn about their history and their feelings, and now their individuality. They're clones. It's not about their individuality. I don't care about their individuality. Go fight. I just think they're trying to monetize every single thing they can. And there's certain things like extras in movies that you don't need to monetize. And again, why would this person know or think that womanhood means long hair on Kamino? Think about it. That is a factor. They wonder why they keep failing. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that are not into it. Go woke, go broke. Whatever. Okay. But that other guy in the comments said it was 2 years old, but everyone else seems to think this is like brand new. When did this book come out? October 8th, 2024. This didn't come out 2 years ago. Or maybe the character came out 2 years ago and then it's in this book now. First introduced in the Queen's Hope. Okay, let's see what this is. Yes, so the Queen's Hope has been out since 2022. The author is E.K. Johnson. She wrote Ahsoka and then a bunch of stuff about Padme. I would suspect that this character is probably very minimal in the book. Forensic archaeologist. She started writing fan fiction in 2002. I'm just checking just to see what type of person this person is. I don't know. She doesn't seem to be any kind of advocate. So if that's the case, then she just threw it in there just as a whatever. She advises early and young writers to learn to finish projects as practice in self-discipline and editing. That's good advice. That's one of the problems I had when I was younger is I would get into whatever it was, an art project, writing a story, whatever, when I was a kid, and you'd get 3/4 of the way done and then you'd get distracted or you'd be too self-critical and you wouldn't finish it. Personal life. Johnston is biromantic and demisexual. Like all these things, I'm sorry, like I don't know what any of this even means. Biromantic. Romantic attraction towards two genders or persons of the same and other genders, sometimes used the same way as panromantic or multi-romantic. So doesn't that just mean bisexual? This is so confusing. See, and then this is where you lose me, right? Like, demisexuality is a sexual orientation in which an individual does not experience primary sexual attraction, a type of attraction that is based on immediately observable characteristics such as appearance or smell, and is experienced immediately after a first encounter. So you're just a person who doesn't just go to bed with somebody when you first meet them? Is that what that means? A demisexual person can only experience secondary sexual attraction, the type of attraction that occurs after the development of an emotional bond. That's just a normal person. The amount of time that a demisexual individual needs to know another person before developing sexual attraction towards them varies from person to person. Demisexual is generally categorized as the asexual sexuality spectrum. So you're a bisexual person. This is what I take from this, guys. This is my interpretation. She is a bisexual who needs to care about the person to be sexually attracted to them. Which really you know what that sounds like, honestly? Not the bisexual part, but the other part. It just sounds like somebody who wants to be courted. That, like, just because you're good looking, I'm not automatically hopping into bed with you. You have to treat me good and get to know me and have an emotional bond with me. Kind of like what Christians do. Right? So, whatever. It's just, why do we have to make up these terms? You're just a bisexual person who doesn't just sleep around. Why don't you just say that? I'm bisexual and I don't just hop into bed with any old person just because they're attractive. Why don't you just say that? Wouldn't that be easier? Why is this being brought up now when this was in a book 2 years ago? And why are headlines like this occurring? Star Wars finally doubles down. This book is 2 years old. Why are we talking about this now? Because it's in this? Like, why now? These are the questions I have. It's like, it seems weird that this book is 2 years old and we're just now discussing this. Trans female clone trooper who served in the Wait a minute. It says that her gender is female. But this is so confusing. Like, female means not trans, right? Because doesn't female mean, like, XX chromosomes? And then trans means that they're XY, but they identify as female? I thought that's what that meant, not that they were female. It's super confusing. She participated in a battle alongside Obi-Wan Kenobi, Commander Cody, Anakin, as part of the 7th Sky Corps. After the battle, Sister and Skywalker discussed how she had received her name from her brother troopers in affirmation of her gender identity. So again, she's just an extra. And then they had a little conversation about her name. The same year, the Republic sent Sister on an aid mission to the planet Langston, alongside Skywalker in the Republic's 302nd Battalion. Sister was mentioned by Clone Captain Rex in his book, The Secrets of the Clone Troopers, which was published following the Galactic Civil War's end. Okay. The Jedi are all about transcending things. I don't think we can complain if you've transcended gender. Again, if you're going to fight beside me in a war and you can do your job, I don't really care. I honestly don't care at all. I just don't like that they made a big deal about it now, and I don't like that the colors on her thing match Earth flags. That's super stupid. There's absolutely no reason for that at all. Honestly, man, you know why that author threw this in there? To placate. That's what I think. Let me know if you're trans. Please, let me know what you think. I think it's a placate. It's a token thing. Oh, just make one of the clones. Yeah, go make one of the clones, one of them, and then move on. Do you remember in Hunger Games, Tigress or whatever? You were totally under the impression that Tigress in Hunger Games was trans. I felt like at least that was pretty obvious. And it took nothing away from the film at all. It was fine. No one cared. And actually somewhat interesting character, never said anything, but played a role, helped them get further along, played a role. It wasn't just some extra that they had a conversation so they could say they're trans. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what this feels like to me. It just feels corny, and it feels shoehorned in. She arranged the helmets of her fallen brothers beneath a tree as a memorial. Okay. When asked by Skywalker for her name. Okay. So she was in the background arranging helmets, and then Skywalker approached her, asked her, and then she explained how she got her name. So it does feel a little shoehorned in, doesn't it? This is a long article for this person that has hardly anything to do with anything. See, they just keep repeating it. Oh, she grieved her brother. They're trying to make this a bigger deal than it is. Okay, this is important now. Like the other clone trooper, Sister was implanted by the Kaminoan scientist with a behavioral modification biochip to ensure that the trooper could not resist certain orders. While in battle, she wore clone trooper armor, and her helmet was painted with vertical blue and magenta stripes. Again, that is ridiculous. She also wielded a blaster rifle and had integrated antenna on her helmet. So she's just a clone trooper that needed to be trans for some reason. And it's weird in a way, right? Because they're clones. So how would that even happen? So they're actually almost saying it is a decision that has nothing to do with genetics, right? Because she's a clone. I'm just saying, I don't know, like, you guys let me know in the comments section. Like, so to me, it's like, not only did they sort of shoehorn this in, they also screwed it up in terms of, like, the movement and, like, trying to convince people, like, that this is, like, totally natural and normal. Like, aren't the huts sort of like amphibians or whatever? They can, like, impregnate themselves? Like, I don't know, like, you already have it, like, it's just, and then you shoehorn in the colors, like, it just seems stupid to me. Here's the writer. Sister doesn't have a huge part in the book, so we didn't want to use her existence as promotional. I made her to be shared not just with readers, but with other Star Wars writers as well. So she doesn't have a huge part in the book. So again, sort of just put in there for the sake of being put in there instead of... She hoped that the author hoped that the queer representation in Queen's Hope would help readers feel that someone was fighting for them to be included. Did you not feel included in Star Wars? If you were, whatever, LGBTQ, did you feel like Star Wars was not for you? The author also hoped that any writer who worked in the time period could easily use the character if they needed a clone trooper. They're extras! And was optimistic she would receive more appearances in the future. She was not present in the first version of Queen's Hope, but the author had been considering her addition for several months. Okay, so it was shoehorned in. There you go. She wasn't even in it. And then either the author or the publisher or somebody from Lucasfilm said, hey, do this. There you go. So we got to the bottom of it. It's just a shoehorned in thing. It's totally not natural. And they didn't even have this person in there, shoehorned her in, and then made her have the flag colors from Earth. There you go. That's just stupid. Sister was an idea that I'd been floating around for a couple months at that point, and I knew that it was going to be a short scene. I knew it was going to be very unsubtle. And I knew that I wanted it to be with Anakin, because I wanted it to be one of his most Jake Lloyd moments in the book. I really wanted that innocence, that genuineness, that immediate acceptance to shine through. And that's his line where he's like, oh, we Jedi transcendent or whatever. Again, so shoehorned in after the fact, 2 months after the fact, after the book was written, shoehorned in, used Anakin to validate, so the number one character in this whole era to validate, and then Earth flag colors. So with those 3 points, I can see why people would be upset. I think that's super lame. If you were going to do it, just do it. Don't do it after the fact. Don't shoehorn it in. I want to use Anakin because that just validates it right away. And then the colors. So, no, this is ridiculous. Again, I don't know why it's being brought up now, though. This is 2 years ago. Here we go. When Johnson submitted the first draft of the novel to Lucasfilm story groups. There you go. See, so it's going through the story group, guys. So now we're getting to the bottom of this. At some point between December 18th, 2002 and May 4th, 2001, the story group asked the author if she'd be willing to change the Adi Topoff's character to be transgender instead of gender fluid. Although she refused, Johnston began thinking of how to fill the other requests made regarding the next draft. She introduced Sister at some point. The author created Sister for the scene she is depicted in with Skywalker in Queen's Hope, and as the story group also wanted the Jedi to feature more in the novel. So she wrote the book, handed it to them. They wanted more, or they wanted this in there for a different character, the story group. See, the story group was running everything, guys. She didn't want to do that, but she found a way to give them something good enough that they would be happy with. There you go, shoehorned in. Despite the shortness of Sister's scene, Johnson took care to write about her gender identity in a very non-subtle way. She also wanted readers to see Sister and the Jedi's reactions in a moment reflecting the innocence of genuineness of Jake Lloyd, the actor who portrayed Skywalker as a child. What does Jake Lloyd have to do with anything? It's a character. It has nothing to do with Jake Lloyd. Some elements the author intentionally wrote in the scene included the terrible pun, Skywalker's lack of shock after seeing Sister take off her helmet, and the Jedi's compassion so that the reader could mentally compare it to how harsh he became as a character afterward. There was no pushback adding Sister to the book. Well, no, they kind of wanted you to, right? They told you to put in a transgender character, so why would there be pushback? You were ordered to do this. You didn't do it initially. And that she had instantly decided what her name would be. When creating the character, she intentionally avoided assigning the trooper a designation number to include Skywalker asking for her name as a plot point. Oh, that's another one. So they had to take the number away. So again, all these concessions they had to make this happen. The author noted that the woman had put off choosing a name because she was unsure what the Kaminoans would do to her at first, and was later given the name Sister by her brothers. Her addition was celebrated alongside T-Pose incorporation by the stories group Emily Scukani, with whom she had several conversations regarding the character. When drafting Skywalker's lines, blah, 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 she wanted to capture the same energy as Jedi Master Yoda's empathy for the clones serving under him. Why are we making such a big deal about this? She mirrored Yoda's request for his troopers to take off their helmets by having Skywalker ask the name of Sister in the novel. Okay, so again, these are extras that you guys, in the stupid Clone Wars, which I don't like, Filoni turned a bunch of extras into devices to make more content, and now we're here, where we're using them to, in a way, right, promote, because shoehorned in, again, wasn't natural, was requested by the story group 2 months later, shoehorned in, to, whatever, have representation for something going on Earth, a social political issue. Ultimately, again, with the colors and everything, this is ridiculous. I don't know. It's just, why? I guess that's the thing. Why? Why shoehorn this in after the fact? Why would they do that? That's where I'm coming from with this. It's just lame, dude. Stuff like that. It's super lame. And again, in the Star Wars universe, I don't think they'd make a big deal about that. I think that's something we're doing. I think in the Star Wars universe, nobody would even care. In fact, I don't even think it would even be discussed. But I also don't think a clone would do this, because they're clones. It would be somebody else. But again, I don't even think they'd mention it. I don't even think they'd talk about it. It's Star Wars. Like I said, there's species of aliens that impregnate themselves. So there's some hermaphrodite aliens and stuff like that. So, or whatever, intersex, whatever. It's offensive to say this and that. I don't even know. So anyway, yeah, I don't think in Star Wars this would be an issue at all. I don't think anyone would even be talking about it. This character would just be another trooper. No one would mention them. No one would even care. No one would care about anything. But of course, they have to make a big deal about it because that's just the nature of where we are right now. And I mean, they've got guys in dresses with beards now, working at Disney princess stores at Disney World. So I mean, this is what they're into now. And I mean, let me know in the comment section what you think. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Always helps the channel. And if you want to check out anything else on my channel, feel free to do so, of course. And have yourselves a really, really good day.